podcast. I don't know, this is a podcast where we just discuss random topics. We just bring our point of view to the whole thing. And I don't know, so you can join in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tonight we have a new person in the lot. It's Miss Ella. You can say hi to our listeners.
Good night, everybody.
All right. And how is everybody?
I'm tired week, but we get through it, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sucks. My God.
All right. So tonight we're going to try to discuss multiple topics tonight, but we want to start with 2020. Yeah? What kind of year has 2020 been for everybody, you know? I'd like to start because for me, last year, December, looking towards 2020, I had so many things that, you know, wanted to accomplish and did have really big plans. And trust me, right now, I just try to survive 2020. That's the feeling I have. Just basically just try to get through this year. How has it been for you guys?
Well, I wanna do so far out of my 20-something years I'm on the planet. I swear that one is the worst. From my perspective though, having the whole financial background and so on, growing up, I always hear about the 2008, the recession. Yes, I did live through the last recession, but I was pretty much not taking care of myself. So I never really feel it as much as how I did hear other people feel it. Me so other people lose jobs, people lose millions, billions, all of them I lose. I never know nothing about that. But going through this now, I can say, I one of the worst. Everything's slow. You have to stay home. You have to wonder, especially persons who work for other people. Each month you wonder, say, yo, I wonder if my month is to go home.
Yeah.
Them still are going to keep me. I wonder if them find me valuable. So you find yourself putting in a lot more work for probably less pay, because them probably reduce your pay. But you have to put in more work to show, say, you're valuable and that them keep you. You want to look at next job, but no job's not out there.
Yeah.
Because nobody not hire. So I one of the roughest thing them. And I think this means welcome to your whole adult life. Because every adult has been through a recession.
Yeah.
And this one are going to be the first one. Not everybody go through COVID still. Because that's our next case. But
yeah, that's our next case. So
yeah, but the recession will come, looking from that point of view. The first one this will go through and we're going to see what it really is.
Yeah, man. Well. Seeing that, well, for me, one of the things I might talk about even the monetary problems that we're having with the 2020 right now is, you know, you stay at home, you never really realize that you need to eat so much food. You know what I mean? You're there home.
I know.
And you know, like the health, everybody into health now and people are work out, but yeah, eat twice as much. I mean, equal back to nothing. So for most people, that is really, and it's like even if you get a job opportunity, cause like I'm in construction, right? So you know, say you will still get jobs, cause people still have build house. Like COVID don't really stop that for who have the money and want to do it.
Yeah.
But you know, for you left your yard and go people yard and them thing there, it's scary, brother. Like, you know, you have to meet people. It's not like one of them jobs where you just stay home and work. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the interaction we have to do and all them stuff. But 2020, like I wanna this year I'm not optimistic about anything. You know what I mean? I'm just waking up, ensuring that I do what I need to do, drink water, them thing there. Is no plans. I lent out no plans for this year. I mean, yeah, just me.
For me, it's mostly been fear. It's kind of like put me in a position that I haven't been in before, because a lot of my family members are abroad. So initially, you know, when you heard about COVID and stuff like that, and we have the lockdown, everybody is stuck where they are. So you have to confront certain things that you've never thought about before. Like, for example, if something were to happen to them there or something happened to me here, you know, we can't get to each other, stuff like that. And then I have asthma and I work in healthcare. So it's been a very scary time for me. But with all of that considered, I still have to be grateful because even though all of this is going on, my day-to-day life, like my lifestyle and so on, has not been severely affected. And so far, nothing has happened to me or any of my friends or family. So I have to just be grateful for that. But in all, it's the scariest period of time that I've ever experienced so far in my life. And I'm hoping it doesn't get any scarier than this.
As for me, I think so far it's a very humbling year. In terms of 2020, starting 2020, I was saying, yeah, man, big things in store and so forth. And it's like everything was just moving fast, too fast at one time. Like I was doing everything at once. And it's like my personality, I'm a mixture of both. I'm like a homebody, quiet at times, this, that. I love going out this at times. So being in this COVID time and stuff, it hasn't really affected me because I've got to slow down and really focus on what really matters. So for me, I think it's a very humbling year. It's a year for me to be more mature about it, growth. And just as everyone has shared, you might be fearful at times, but you have to grow through that. Financial difficulties at times, but you have to grow through that. So I don't think I'm gonna try my best to take the positive out of this year.
Yeah.
Even though it seems like nothing is going on. Yeah, man. It's all about maturity and growth this year.
Yeah, that's true because one of the things that personally, this whole thing, I wouldn't say 2020 in general, but like since COVID got here, it has, helped me to spend more time with myself and, just focus on what's important. And to tell the truth, I've learned a lot in terms of just the whole quarantine and more time inside and whatever. I realized that there are a lot of things that we used to do that you never really need.
Yeah, just not necessary.
In the first place, like you just did do it because you could. You understand?
Yeah.
So from that point of view, kind of helped me to cut down on what is important or to help me to understand what is needed and what is not needed. So like even now, I find myself being a little bit better with like time management and stuff like that. Because now I'm not preoccupied with certain things that I used to do before and whatever. For the food part though, like, me personally tired of my body, right? Like me feed it every day.
Yeah.
I just feel like one day suppose you can just not want any. Do you understand? Like,
Yeah.
And I like to me, I don't know a whole heap of things yesterday. Me eat a whole heap of food yesterday, and then today, me just a chill, like, me not do no whole heap of work, like, you still need food today as well, like, it's kind of frustrating as it relates to that.
Every day. And even the fear thing where Ella did that talk about, I experienced some of that myself because my family live in St. Elizabeth and I'm all the way at Kingston. And not lying, during the COVID time, I did have to go down, go check my mother and my father and something because they need certain things. And I did that fret. Because I said to myself, John, them live in our aging community where everybody over a certain age, people old, people have diabetes like crazy. But diabetes is a country thing. Like everybody have it.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid say, suppose me go down. I don't know say me have this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the people them and the whole community that gone,
Right.
I'm afraid about that like crazy. Me have to spray up before me go down. When I come out of my car, me have to spray. All sort of something. All sort of problems. So the fear did real, man. Serious thing.
Fear of transmission too, but it's like for patients, because I have a responsibility to make sure that I'm not exposing my patients, right?
Yeah.
Because it's from one person to the other. But in terms of like thinking about you catching it, that's one part of the fear, but also to be responsible for giving it to somebody else. Yeah, that's
it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's like because you know I was in Kingston and my parents wanted me to come home all the time. I don't drive, so I was like, yo, I'm not taking a taxi cause that just not gonna work, and no public transportation and them stuff. Because imagine, and my immune system is, I'd say, is rather good, but I have my grandparents, as you were saying, you have your older folks, and the amount of underlying
issues,
things what them have. The fact is, they haven't gotten a flu in a very long time, and I'm pretty sure if they got a flu, the whole load probably carry them. Then imagine if they got COVID. For me, you know, the transmission thing is it's almost in comparison to like I'm a suicide bomber. Like I can actually walk into the community.
And just mash up the whole
patient zero.
And you know, so another aspect where I could see it different, like affecting my appearance too. I think like psychologically, like the whole situation, it like they were reacting to it very differently. So at times I had to be like calming them down. And like the news, sometimes I get them carried away and things.
Yeah, because the people them tell us once you're over 50, come like that's it. Basically, I saw them did a portrait.
See, that my father have diabetes, all them things. So
like you're just dead, like you don't have no choice.
Another thing too, with the older generation, they're really into news. Like them consume a lot of news, and
they overdo it sometimes.
Yes, they tend to, because the news itself is just throwing it at you. You understand? And because they're just in it most of the time, it's almost like that is all they hear. And the worst of it, they think about the worst of it. They're experiencing the worst of it psychologically because it's just always in their face and just I hear the worst news from it. So like even from my parents, if I tell mommy like, yo, if you turn off the TV, try watch something else. Like distract yourself. You can't be on CNN all the time because there's nothing good. You're not gonna hear nothing good.
Nothing good.
That's it. You understand? So
and not only that, you know, because you know, with this COVID and with any serious disease or whatever comes out, you have the news, you know, but then you have just the normal media that you can get on your phone, and you know, like our parents, you know, we were born into the smartphone era, and I mean, we know when information, we can decipher where real information come from.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Parents, my mother sent me link on top of link. Link a disclaim other link. Me I say, mommy, I read them something here because if you do everything what this has said.
As a broadcast, which is sin, so them
and them, brother, them if as my parents are Christians, you know, and if there's a broadcast that a man from Africa say pray for buckle of oil and I eat go do it, she has sent me. And she had it. They hear one next thing say them say you have to drink the green bush. She has said make sure again I say, yo, everything you know right now. No disease can kill.
How much I drink busy when Chick V did drop.
Yeah, well,
that's
not true.
But that was a part of it for my parents as well, because the news use the kind of language that is inflammatory and they don't really understand what it means sometimes. So like when she hear what they say on the news, you know, it's frightening, but thankfully we kind of have a little bit of background so we can explain better to her, you know, calm her down and stuff like that. But like even me personally, I take breaks from consuming the news. So like even with the updates, because on social media, you know, Twitter and stuff like that, you get the news really fast from everywhere all the time. Sometimes I just have to block it out.
And then
go ahead.
Along with the COVID came this whole thing that's now happening in America with the Black Lives Matter movement and the killings and all of that. And trust me, like that took more of a toll on me than COVID actually. Like, yo.
But you know, me link it back to COVID though.
Yeah, you link it back?
Yeah, man, because what I believe is that, just like how you guys were talking about, you have a lot of introspection. You start look for yourself and realize you don't need certain things. I think the fact that everybody there them yard, and then this happened, it kind of make everybody know more aware of them surroundings, more aware of what's happening, and take a longer time now to look on it, rather than just going back at work.
They also don't have any jobs right now, so they don't have to worry about protesting and losing a job.
Them just gone back at work. That's it.
Yeah. Ferguson, that was a big part of it. Like, you don't want to be caught on TV doing certain things and you lose your work, but then I have no work to worry about. So that's a
Champions League and NBA playoffs are going.
It was never did I go on anyway.
No distraction.
Yeah, but honestly, like that whole situation, trust me, the most stressful thing. Like the information, like I always knew that racism was, there. But when we start to realize how deep rooted this thing is and how it's almost like you feel helpless in a way, because the work that it will take to undo all of this, it probably spans generations, it spans over generations and stuff like that, because like it's everywhere. Like things we not even realize, I send a certain message. And I realize like almost everything. So like, I find myself now, even though I understand that this is a privilege to block out certain things, like I find myself now like I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Like I understand it, and we definitely need it. But like for me, like I reach one point where me saturated with all of that. You understand? Yeah. So
it's pretty.
Go ahead, Ella.
For me, it's like pretty traumatic to always be consuming images of black bodies being, beaten and all of that. Like the trauma from it, because I watched that video, and I was trying to avoid watching the video because I know, the images stick with you for a while. But like when you have to watch videos like that back to back to back to back, it's traumatic because you can visualize yourself in the position, because the people look like you. The people, it's basically, it could happen to anybody, you, your friend, your family, your father, your mother, because it's directed at people that look like you fit into the category. So it's basically like watching what could happen to yourself. And sometimes you do visualize it happening to people who are close to you or to yourself. So it's pretty traumatic for me. Right. And I think that taking a break from it is not a bad thing.
Yeah, right. And just to add to that point too, a lot of us have people that live in America. Cousins, nephews, brothers, sisters, stuff like that. So it's not just we projecting it or we projecting ourselves in that situation. You say, could have my brother that they understand, or I could have my cousin that, or something like that. So that is a part of the reason too.
I see the lot of the negativity from the news. Read that. I understand the whole reason coming out of it. Because, as I say, it's very traumatic seeing all of that and everything happening. But for me, what I would like to take out of it now, or where I would like to see people go, is to actually do some amount of action, you know what I mean? Like, I want to now see black people deciding that, hey, let's go own some businesses. Rather than doing this with the money, let's go do this with the money and help build up our own thing. Because persons always say, like, even in some businesses, you get the job if you're white, or some white people get certain promotions and so on. But you have a lot of black-owned businesses. I'm not saying that every business needs to be prejudiced, because then we would be pretty much just doing
the same thing,
the same thing that they would be doing. But you have a lot of people have the way, they have the means of doing certain things. And I think that coming out of this, that's what they should be look towards doing. I see people like LeBron and them people that try them thing. Kudos to him. But you have a lot of other people out there who need to do a little bit more,
Right.
Like the solution to this problem, we have to take into consideration that like Black liberation is pretty new. The lady that desegregated black schools is 65 years old. Like, that's other day, right? Yeah. So we have to cut ourselves some slack in terms of what we're expecting us to achieve in that short period of time. Also, we start out far behind everybody else, like with resources, stuff like that.
Just
right?
identity and all of that too.
Right. So for us to achieve certain things, we have to look into the fact that we're still pretty young as a free race of people, right? And then we're also, as I said, starting out with less resources. We have a whole system put in place that you have to overcome, right? So I think based on what we have been able to accomplish, we're doing a pretty good job, right? But I do agree that we can focus more on creating more Black spaces for Black people by Black people instead of trying to, pander to white people to get the work.
And it come back to the identity that Sanjay was talking about. A lot of us don't really, some people even say they don't even identify as Black. That's as far as a lot of people go. So a lot of people, they lose their identity along the way. And it has a lot to do with what they're seeing on the TV, hearing on the radios and so on. It's a bit of what I call brainwashing.
We have a lot to overcome as a people. Because inside of the Black community itself, if anything traumatic has ever happened to you, right? Nobody here is over 30. So that's a less than 30 years. And you see how long it takes you to process it, much less to get to a point of resolution, much less to get beyond it. You understand? So as a race of people, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of those type of barriers to overcome. And within ourselves, we have a lot of stereotypes and crab in a barrel kind of programming to overcome.
That's how I agree with you, Ella. I think a level of solidarity needs to be there because, for instance, I have some friends who I met and thing in Wisconsin. I used to live there and thing, and it's hard for them because I even know friends who one parent is white, the other one is Black. The identity thing in America is very hard. Now, we need to understand, we're all Black people, even Caribbean or American or African. So just as Ella said, we have to find some common ground. Yes, we might have various different histories or recollection of history, but we have to find that common space and say, this is who we are, this is what we're gonna do, and so forth.
Right. And I think the onus is on us as well, to make these changes as it relates to the stuff for us. I say after the whole situation, we need to ensure that certain things that we project or certain things that we think, we analyze them and understand where they're coming from, and we try to break it down. Because as I said, during this whole thing, since it started, I realized so many things that, I didn't realize that I was helping to keep my race of people down, isn't it? So I think it starts with us. I think it starts with us passing the information along down and passing the information up as well, because we have the older generation also get programmed into a whole heap of things. So we, with the information, have to find ways of divulging that whole thing to people coming up and people that is already there. And that is a part of the conversation we can have to, because passing on information is not always the easiest thing. So do you guys think that, are we responsible, to tailor the information to the person that is listening, or it's the listener's responsibility to, take or to find the gems in the information? So what do you guys think?
For me, it depends, because one of the things is that information actually sells. So information is a business. So for example, things like financial literacy, nobody now go and teach you that really. Because at the end of the day, by not teaching you, that's how I take advantage of you. That is one of the things I can teach you to make money. So, those sort of things. So so at times you're not going to find that somebody's going to just willingly come to you. Just like how I can go to a lawyer and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because at the end of the day, the lawyer's advice is what makes him money. So
Right.
certain information is not just going to be out there. So certain information, it will really be down to the person to know that these things are out there. You can try and make the research for yourself. But simple things like day-to-day and what you need for life, I think that those can be passed down and should be passed down from different people. And it can start from in the school. I don't think school teaches a lot of regular information, like what you need to survive. School doesn't teach you any of those. But
Right.
except the maths. You need the maths, but that's about it.
I think it's like two sides to the coin, right? For me, we're in the age of information, as people always refer to it as, right? You can Google anything. You can go on YouTube and get a video that explains anything, right? We have access to information. A person who can read and doesn't read is worse off than somebody that can't read, right? So if you can, you should do your research. But the question that Sanjay asked remind me of the incident with J. Cole other day, where people were saying that, you know, you shouldn't spoon feed information to a big man and whatever. But for me, I understand what he's saying, because for a lot of people, they don't understand their privilege when it comes to information. So you grew up in a place where you had access to this, your parents were these kind of people, they pass this on, you get the knowledge, you have, you know, you have certain people where they wake up every day and they don't even know what they're going to eat. They don't know where they're going to sleep tonight. They're not going to the library to read anything. You understand?
Right.
So you have to understand your privilege in, you know, access to information. And then I find it offensive too when people with information are condescending. Like, me prefer not know.
Yeah, true.
Me prefer you not tell me.
You not tell me nothing.
That be condescending. And I find that in a lot of communities, like for example, this Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of the people at the top with the information are condescending, because for me, some things I didn't even know that I should read about that. You know, so if I don't even know that that's a factor, how can I go and research it? But when they're telling you that it's a factor, it's always in a condescending way, like, oh, you know, say, you know, X, Y, Z. I just did not know. Do you know? But I agree. I think that it's two sides to it. Like, you have a personal responsibility for, you know, finding out information, but at the same time, people with the information, the people at the top, because everybody cannot be a leader. So if you're going to put yourself in the position as a leader for a certain movement or in a certain niche, then you have to be careful with the way that you're talking to your audience, because these people are looking to you for guidance, for whatever. It's okay to say that, you know, you should go and read. But if you're bringing up something that is not common knowledge or everybody in a huffy way, you can bring it up in a way where you understand that this is not common knowledge, right? And even with Corona, when Corona just came out, everybody was like, some people saw it on the back of the Lysol container, coronavirus, and everybody was like, you know, oh, you know, how should they know that coronavirus? Like, where would they get this information from, you know?
Right.
That's my opinion on information. So if you have a personal responsibility, but also if you have information to share it. Like, you don't have to be condescending.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think basically this is the same thing. I had a conversation with my friends once about how powerful Africa was, like, way back, right? And they were the first persons to invent electricity, among a lot of other things. Now, we were speaking about the Moors, who were like very educated. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I wonder if a lot of persons knew that they were educated. My issue was with, because we were having a debate, and I was like, you know what? My issue is, if they had all this information, why wasn't it passed down? Instead, it was used to build Europe. You know what I mean? So, like the reason why the Europeans, and then that also created the issue with them being more powerful than us, because, you know, the information wasn't necessarily, like, the leaders would have the information, the tribes, and then you would know the information if it is needed. It's only on a means of necessity. Like, if you're sick on your foot, me tell you. You know what I mean? But if you're not sick foot, you're not going to hear about that herb.
And you know, it go back to the background thing, because the reason why me did end up know about all of these things is because from young, my father, I read, you know.
Yeah,
So I always see him with the books.
yeah.
And one of the books I read from the high school is the How Europe Underdeveloped Africa.
Yeah.
And
Right.
everything in there. And that's something that was introduced to me from my father. If he never showed me that.
How you never tell me that? How you never share that with me?
The thing is, you know, you not even know. Then again, you not even know who want the information. So I guess some of the information they just have to just randomly share it.
Yeah.
Just drop it on a man.
Because I know something where people just talk about on a daily.
Yeah.
But
just as what Verlia said, and this we kind of bring up this issue and the topic before, and the parenting thing is like it don't pass down in generations the way it's supposed to be. Like some things you have to tell your kids, you have to talk to them. You can't just expect them to just grow up and know this, grow up. Yeah, and that is happening, and it's showing now. People are just going through living their lives, just trying to learn what is happening. When there are actually people in society that can reach out to people and let them know how to go about doing things. Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing about it is some of this information, we're not talking about something that is super serious. We're talking about the simplest of things, because some of these things help you with identity. It just connect the dots for you. You understand?
Exactly.
Just anything, like just the simplest of things. So as I say, whatever information you have, you should pass it down, and you should pass it down in a way that the person does not feel smaller or feels offended, because it's a natural response. Really, if you talk them to me, you know more than me, really and truly. So I prefer try to prove you wrong. So if you're going to tell me, say, listen, I can't walk past the river because it's going to wash me when you talk to me now. So I'm probably going to try to show you, say, yo, watch that style, yeah. You see me? So a lot of people end up in that position where you could have know everything and know how to lead and know, say, the people are going down the wrong path. But if you talk to them the wrong way, people then prefer go down the wrong path. You understand? So you have a responsibility as a leader. So once you take that role, a part of the responsibility is passing down this information to the masses in a way that the masses will listen to you.
Yeah, man. You have to decode it. You have to decode it. You have to encode it.
Yeah, you have to decode it. You have to talk them language. You have to make them feel like, say, yo, you see me?
You know, another thing what I see sometimes happen is that, because you know, sometimes the thing is they are saying they don't know when is the right time to tell you this, you know?
Yeah.
But right now is the right time. So if you really want to tell me, write it down. If you don't think at age, because the thing is, you know, sometimes they're waiting on the right time, but the wrong time catch them. You know what I mean? Like, probably they might wait until they reach a certain age. I mean that they or dementia or something. You know what I mean? And that information doesn't get passed on.
Right.
I mean, I think black people scared to write things down. Like they don't really. They left it in their memory. And me go tell you, man.
Yeah.
You get me? I try to say, and like a lot of information that our parents could have given us. There's no, like me, my parents, them, they don't have no book with nothing right down in it. Me I tell you everything out of their head.
Out of their head.
You get me? I try to say. So now when you get the information, I scrap some pieces that were left because I'm pretty sure their memory not that good.
Right.
Step by step things.
We have to take into account Black history, including slavery. So when people were taken out of Africa, storytellers were taken away, right? The doctors, the skilled people, because even you're talking about the Moors and so on, and how we don't have that information. Remember that after, you know, the colonization, the information was taken away from us. And then in terms of writing down information, it wasn't safe. And then in terms of educating your child to certain things, it probably wasn't safe. So we have a lot of survival mechanisms that are hurting us now, but at the time they did serve a purpose. You know, a lot of the things we do, they came about just because of, you know, what happened to us as a people.
And it comes like it does pass through generations.
Right.
Don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe.